8 p.m. on a Sunday night. What am I doing? Something exciting, something crazy? Well, kind of. I'm in my garden, drinking black coffee, and looking at what I got done today. So, let's take a look. With our coffee, of course. So, the weed block that I'd put up the other day is still there. I will not plant the peppers in this probably for another week and a half. Because our lows here, central Wisconsin, we are still looking at 40-degree lows. Not 40 degrees, in the 40s. 48, 51, and it's just going to be too low for peppers. I did add a second row of weed block. I don't know what I'm going to put in there, but I did put marigolds between. These are crackerjack marigolds I grew from seed. So I should have a nice kind of visual barrier between the two rows. I have a 6-foot wide space here with 3 rows. This will probably be cabbage or broccoli, something of that nature. Might throw some squash in, we'll see. I've deviated from my plan a fair amount, so I've got some thinking to do over the next day or two. The wide rows, the border rows are still going to be the tomatoes. None of those are in. They were supposed to be, but that just didn't happen today. So we'll add that to the list for tomorrow, weather permitting. I did at the back of the greenhouse get kind of a cool setup done. I took this space. It's the only space in the garden that basically has sun all day long. Because the way the walls of the greenhouse work, there's always a shaded spot. So I went ahead and planted some bok choy, some Swiss chard, and some spinach. All things that we enjoy and things that I'd like to save and preserve. So we'll see how that goes. Other side of this, I did not get the other fence section moved. This fence section, as I'll show you in a second, should be over about 6 feet. I didn't get that done, so I went ahead and planted it just because I've got stuff to get in the ground. Stuff in the ground grows better than stuff in the greenhouse right now, so we're going to go with it. So I have tomatillos in the back. I have some beets. I have some zinnias over in the corner. Some of them are starting to bloom. They look quite beautiful. And then I went ahead and threw in some snapdragons over here. And more of those to show you in a minute. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But takes up some space and we'll go with it. The big section here, I have a 6-foot wide section of weed block. This is 12-inch-ish in the middle, about 16 to 18 inch on the edges spacing, and then 18 between plants. I thought I was planting broccoli, so I went ahead and made it closer. It's actually cabbage. We'll see how this goes. It'll be a cool experiment. I have red Calivos. I have late flat Dutch, Golden Acre, Tancook Island, and then I have some white Vienna kohlrabi up at the top. 50 plants. We'll see how it goes. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'm sure I can figure out something to do with it. I also managed today to get the other remaining sections of weed block down in this section. You'll recall from before, this is all going to be separate areas with, actually this section is going to be a path leading to the chicken coop. For this year, it's kind of a transition space, but I did leave the strings up. I'm planting it kind of as close as I can as if it's going to be that area, just because it makes sense for this year. I planted snapdragons between. I have 27 snapdragons, all grown from seed. I am super impressed with how they look. Anywhere from 5, 6 to 8 inches tall. So those should be awesome. So I'm hoping kind of to do a visual barrier between this section here with this section up here, just with the flowers. It's easy. I've got them. It looks cool and it kind of sets the rows apart. So we'll go with that. I also laid the fabric here. I haven't burned the holes in this yet, but this is going to be beans. My plan is to have a section here and a section over on the south side that's both for beans and has the the narrower spacing. So we're looking at like 4 to 6 inch spacing. Meat birds are headed to the freezer this week, so this area will open up. But in the meantime, I have been torching areas and adding weed block fabric as I go. Haven't planted it, but it's there. I do have the path here. I showed in a previous video, so we should be good to go. A lot of grass on the edges. I'm going to probably torch that. I'm not terribly worried about it, but it looks messy, so I'd like to get rid of it. Leeks, shallots, and onions look outstanding. This section is going to be peppers. I will take up this weed block fabric. I'm probably going to toss it. It was one of those haphazard sets that I did last year where I kind of burned it wherever, and it doesn't really work, so I'd like it to be a little bit more uniform. These are the tomatoes that are going into the ground hopefully this week. It was supposed to be today, but they're going to be on the borders, alternated with extra cabbage that I have. And then here is what was a spinach bed. Everything is bolting, everything is going to seed. So I think I'm going to do this in carrots. I've got garlic at the other end. Carrots and garlic go fine together. Lettuce looks okay, pretty small. I have never had good luck with carrots, but I've never had a good space for them either. So I'm going to feed these to the rabbits day by day. I do have a potato coming up from last year. Kind of cool. Apparently I missed one when I was digging them out. So we're going to look at this area as maybe carrots. It doesn't have a massive amount of grass, and I'm thinking that maybe if I do carrots in it, they would do okay. I'd love to have carrots in the garden. I have a huge number of seeds. I just need to figure out where it's going to go. So I think that about wraps it up. Lots to do, as always. Rhubarb is looking great. Get a little annoyed sometimes that the stuff that I don't touch is massive and has swallowed a tote with greenhouse plastic, because I guess that's what rhubarb is. So anyway, everything else is coming along. It's always interesting. Here's the deal. I mentioned that in a previous video. Overwintered from last year. Don't remember planting it, but obviously it's there. I also have, I believe this is fennel. Bronze fennel from last year. Looks pretty cool. But it's always interesting as you plant this stuff. It starts out looking totally small, inadequate for the space. You know, the flowers are spaced. There's all this dirt between. And then you look out one day and everything is growing on top of each other and an absolute mess. So I kind of like it. It's a garden that's planned. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I put a lot of time and energy into thinking about where stuff is going to go. But it's also a garden that is very much organic and kind of does its thing. I have Darrow blackberries. I think they're called Darrow. And they've kind of sprouted up all over. They're going to have to get moved. The asparagus is looking fantastic. I have another 60 or 70 asparagus to put in the ground this year. I added some calendula, and then we'll figure out what we do with this other space. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you have ideas, questions, tips, things you think I should try, let me know. This is absolutely an experiment. Probably my favorite part of gardening is the transition, the planning, but then also the experiments. Try something. If it doesn't work, oh well, and if it does work, then you learn something cool. So anyway, I'm going to get back to now sitting in the weeds, kind of appropriate, my Fleet Farm cup of coffee, and go from there. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.